Welcome to AppleKnows channel. I am Apple, and today I am going to take you into one of the most mind-bending journeys you could imagine, where science, philosophy, and ancient myths collide. We will talk about how the world might have begun. These are not fantasies but real hypotheses, ideas proposed by scientists, philosophers, and ancient thinkers that sound so strange, you will have trouble believing people actually considered them seriously. Yet they did, and some of these ideas are still discussed today. One of the most fascinating hypotheses is the simulation theory. It suggests that our universe might not be physical at all but a computer simulation. Nick Bostrom, a philosopher from Oxford, argued that if advanced civilizations ever reach the point where they can simulate entire universes with conscious beings, then statistically, it is more likely that we are living in one of those simulations than in the original reality. This is not science fiction, even tech leaders and scientists debate it seriously. Elon Musk once said that the chance we are in base reality is very slim. Imagine that, your entire life, everything you know, could be a line of code running somewhere in a cosmic computer. But let us step back in time. Ancient cultures had their own breathtaking ideas about creation. In Hindu philosophy, there is the concept of cosmic cycles. The universe is created, destroyed, and recreated endlessly in cycles called kalpas, each lasting billions of years. According to this view, the Big Bang was not the beginning, but just one in an infinite series of expansions and contractions. Modern cosmology has even considered similar models, like the oscillating universe hypothesis, where the cosmos expands, collapses, and repeats. Isn't it shocking how ancient philosophy overlaps with modern science in unexpected ways? Then there is the holographic principle, a modern idea from physics. This hypothesis suggests that everything we see around us, the three-dimensional universe, might actually be a projection of information stored on a distant two-dimensional surface. To put it simply, our entire reality could be like a hologram. What you feel is solid matter, the space you walk through, could be just a cosmic projection, and the true information about the universe might be encoded far away on the edge of space. Another strange idea comes from quantum mechanics. The Copenhagen interpretation proposes that the universe only becomes real when it is observed. In other words, particles exist in multiple states until someone looks at them, and then they collapse into reality. If you extend this idea to the entire cosmos, it suggests that consciousness itself might be fundamental to the creation of the universe. Some scientists have even asked, what if the universe did not fully exist until observers like us were here to see it? But if you think that is wild, consider the multiverse hypothesis. Some physicists believe that our universe is just one bubble in a vast cosmic foam of countless other universes, each with different physical laws and constants. Some of them could be completely alien, no atoms, no stars, no life, while others might be almost identical to ours, with other versions of you living different lives. The idea is that the Big Bang was not unique, but one of many cosmic births. Even more shocking is the Boltzmann brain paradox. Imagine the universe is infinite and chaotic. Over an infinite amount of time, random fluctuations could create not just stars and galaxies, but a single self-aware brain floating in space, complete with false memories. Statistically, it might be more likely that you are such a brain imagining reality than a real person in a real world. This sounds insane, but it is an actual thought experiment in cosmology. And then there is the idea of panspermia. While it does not explain the origin of the universe itself, it suggests life on Earth might not have started here. Instead, life's building blocks, molecules, or even microorganisms, could have traveled on comets or meteorites from other star systems. This means we might literally be aliens, born from seeds scattered across the cosmos. If you are still here, then you are ready to go even deeper. I am Apple from AppleKnows channel, and the more we uncover, the stranger it becomes. Remember, every fact I am sharing with you has been seriously considered by thinkers and scientists. It is not fantasy, but the history of human attempts to understand how everything began. Let us talk about the ancient Greek idea known as the cosmic egg. Orphic tradition described the universe as hatching from a massive egg, splitting into heaven and earth. At first it sounds poetic, but here is the surprise: modern physics has its own version. The Big Bang theory begins with a singularity, a point where all energy and matter were compressed before expanding. In a way, the universe was once like an unbroken egg, waiting to burst open into existence. Now consider another shocking hypothesis, the idea of eternal inflation. This theory suggests that the Big Bang was not a single event but part of a much larger process. Space itself is constantly inflating, creating bubble universes endlessly. Our universe is just one bubble in an eternal froth of new universes being born every moment. And if that is true, then what we call the beginning is just a tiny part of an endless chain. Even religions preserve strange parallels to modern science. In the ancient Babylonian creation myth, the universe begins in a formless, watery chaos, from which the gods shape order. In modern cosmology, some scientists describe the early universe as a quantum foam, a sea of fluctuating energy from which space and time themselves emerged. Two very different sources, yet both describing beginnings out of chaos. Then comes the anthropic principle, which almost sounds like philosophy disguised as physics. It states that the universe appears fine-tuned for life, with physical constants balanced so precisely that even small changes would make existence impossible. Gravity, electromagnetism, the strength of atomic forces alter them slightly, and stars would never form, planets would never exist, and life would be impossible. Some scientists argue that this precision suggests purpose, while others say it is just luck in a multiverse of infinite possibilities. There is also the plasma universe hypothesis, which is less known but fascinating. Instead of beginning with the Big Bang, some theorists suggested that the universe could be explained mainly through the behavior of plasma, charged particles that make up most of the visible universe. This theory, although not widely accepted today, challenged the Big Bang by proposing that electric and magnetic forces shaped cosmic structures instead of just gravity and expansion. And think about this, some physicists, like John Wheeler, proposed the idea of the participatory universe. According to this view, observers are not just passive viewers of reality, our observations help bring the universe into being. The act of looking, measuring, and experiencing might actually create the reality we live in. This is not mysticism, it is a serious interpretation rooted in quantum mechanics. Every one of these ideas shows how fragile our certainty really is. From cosmic eggs and eternal cycles to holograms and simulated realities, the story of creation is far from simple. The universe may not be what we think it is, and the question of how it began may be deeper than human minds can fully grasp. Let's start with the ekpyrotic universe. This model suggests that our universe was born from the collision of two enormous brains, multi-dimensional sheets floating in a higher dimensional space. In string theory, these brains exist beyond the three dimensions we see. When they smash together, the energy released could create a Big Bang. If this is true, then our entire universe was literally the product of a cosmic crash between invisible worlds outside our perception. Then there's the white hole hypothesis. You've probably heard of black holes, regions of spacetime where gravity is so strong nothing can escape. A white hole is the reverse, nothing can enter it, but matter and energy constantly spew out. Some scientists have speculated that the Big Bang itself might have been a white hole event, a gigantic explosion of matter and energy pouring out from another region of spacetime. In other words, our universe could be the other side of a black hole in another universe. Another eerie concept is the false vacuum idea. According to quantum field theory, our universe might not be in its lowest energy state. It could be a metastable vacuum, like a ball resting on a small hill rather than in a valley. A quantum fluctuation could one day cause it to tunnel to a lower energy state, rewriting the laws of physics instantly, annihilating everything in a wave of destruction traveling at the speed of light. This is not science fiction. Nobel-winning physicist Frank Wilczek has said it's a real possibility, though probably not imminent. But it means the cosmos may be living on borrowed time. And here is one that is both scientific and deeply philosophical: the self-creating universe hypothesis. It suggests the universe created itself from nothing due to quantum fluctuations. According to the laws of quantum physics, even a vacuum, true emptiness, is not truly empty but teeming with energy. Under the right conditions, entire universes can spontaneously appear out of nothing. Stephen Hawking himself proposed a version of this, saying the universe has no boundary and no need for an external cause. Now take a breath for the next one. Some researchers speculate about retrocausality, the idea that future events can influence the past at the quantum level. If that is true, then the conditions for the universe's birth might be shaped by events billions of years later, possibly even by intelligent observers. This means, bizarrely, that the act of beings like us existing could help cause the universe to have formed in the first place. Finally, there's the omega point hypothesis proposed by physicist Frank Tipler. It suggests that in the far future, intelligent life could eventually control all matter and energy, compressing the universe as it collapses, and create an all-encompassing consciousness at the end of time. In this view, the end of the universe and the creation of a kind of godlike intelligence are the same event. Even though many scientists reject this, the math behind it was published in peer-reviewed journals. These are not popular theories you hear in everyday conversations, they are the strange ideas buried in old manuscripts, fringe scientific debates, and the minds of those who dared to think far beyond convention. One of the most obscure is the cyclical time hypothesis in ancient Mayan cosmology. The Maya believed the universe is destroyed and reborn in repeating cycles of thousands of years. What makes this fascinating is that some modern physicists, like Roger Penrose, have proposed a similar concept called conformal cyclic cosmology. According to him, the Big Bang might not have been the first, but simply the latest in an infinite chain of universes. Evidence? He claims subtle patterns in the cosmic microwave background radiation hint at remnants from a universe that existed before ours. Then there's the digital physics approach. Some scientists argue that the universe behaves less like a physical system and more like information processing. The universe might be made of bits, not atoms, binary information at its foundation. John Archibald Wheeler summarized it in a chilling phrase, "it from bit." This means every star, every galaxy, every one of us could ultimately be the result of pure information, as if the cosmos itself is a giant computer running on logic rather than matter. Let's move to an ancient idea from Egyptian creation myths, the concept of Nun, the infinite waters of chaos. From this endless sea, the first mound of earth rose, giving birth to gods in creation. Strange as it sounds, physicists use similar imagery when they describe quantum foam, the seething energy field that might predate space and time. 2,000 years apart, but both traditions describe a boundless ocean of potential from which reality rises. Now let's turn to the anthropic shadow. This hypothesis says that the reason we find ourselves in a universe that supports life may not be because it's special, but because we can only exist in such a universe to begin with. But here's the twist, maybe countless universes were born and died, some violently unstable, some lasting only seconds, and only this one survived long enough for life to emerge. In that case, we are not special, we are simply the lucky survivors of cosmic natural selection. Then comes the idea of the universe as a black hole. Some cosmologists suggest our universe might itself be the interior of a giant black hole existing in a higher dimensional universe. The Big Bang would then be the bounce from matter collapsing beyond an event horizon. If true, what we see as infinite space might actually be the inside of an unimaginably massive star's corpse in another cosmos. And finally, consider the hypothesis of emergent spacetime. Cutting-edge research suggests that space and time themselves might not be fundamental at all. Instead, they may emerge from deeper layers of reality, such as quantum entanglement networks. If this is correct, then space and time are illusions created by the interactions of information. Our entire sense of past, present, and distance could be nothing more than a byproduct of hidden quantum relationships. One of the rarest is the idea of quantum cosmogenesis without time. Some theoretical physicists propose that time itself did not exist before the universe, instead, time emerged along with space during the Big Bang. In this view, asking what happened before the Big Bang is like asking what's north of the North Pole. The question makes no sense. This radical perspective flips everything. There was no before, only the emergence of time itself. Then there is the many histories version of quantum cosmology. Instead of one universe branching into many, as in the multiverse, it suggests that every possible history of the universe exists simultaneously in a quantum superposition until it selects a path. This means that the cosmos didn't have a single, fixed origin, it had all of them, all at once, until some process collapsed it into the history we now inhabit. Another fringe but published idea is the causal set approach. In this model, spacetime isn't smooth and continuous, it's made of discrete points, like pixels on a screen, but at a scale far smaller than atoms. Reality itself could be a kind of granular network, and the Big Bang was simply the first point in an expanding causal web. In other words, the universe may be built out of events rather than space or matter. Here's one that sounds like pure science fiction but comes from serious papers: the baby universe hypothesis. In certain models of quantum gravity, black holes can spawn new universes inside them. Each black hole could be a seed of a new cosmos with its own laws of physics. If true, then our universe might be the offspring of another universe's black hole, and our black holes might be giving birth to countless universes right now. An even stranger speculation is universe as a quantum wave function. In this view, the entire cosmos is one gigantic quantum object described by a wave function. This wave function doesn't evolve inside time; instead, time appears only when parts of it interact and decohere. This means the whole of reality might exist timelessly as a single mathematical object, and what we experience as change is just our limited perspective on it. And then there's mathematical universe theory by physicist Max Tegmark. He argues that mathematics is not just a tool to describe reality, reality is mathematics. Every consistent mathematical structure exists physically as its own universe. That would mean that not only is our universe real, but every possible universe that can be expressed mathematically is equally real. We're just living in one equation among an infinity of equations. Finally, that observer-created reality concept taken to the extreme: if consciousness is fundamental, then without conscious observers there is no universe. This is a radical extension of quantum mechanics proposed by thinkers like John Wheeler. The universe, in this model, isn't just shaped by observation, it literally comes into being because something is aware of it. In this sense, the cosmos and consciousness are inseparable, locked in a loop of mutual creation. All of these hypotheses are documented in scientific or philosophical discourse. None of them is proven. But each one pushes us to the edge of what it means to exist, to have a beginning, to even be real. They are real ideas discussed by scientists and philosophers, but they test the limits of logic and reality itself. One of the deepest is the zero-energy universe hypothesis. According to this idea, the total energy of the universe is exactly zero. Positive energy in the form of matter and radiation is balanced perfectly by negative energy in the form of gravity. This means the universe could arise spontaneously from nothing without violating the laws of physics, because the net cost is zero. Stephen Hawking and others supported versions of this idea. In other words, reality may exist as a self-balancing equation, appearing from nothing because nothing and something cancel out. Then there's the information conservation hypothesis. Some physicists argue that information can never be destroyed, even inside black holes. If true, that means all information about everything that ever existed is encoded somewhere in the universe's structure, past, present, and future. The Big Bang might not have been the creation of new information at all but a radical reconfiguration of existing information into a new state. This puts a very different spin on the idea of creation. Another rare idea is consciousness as a cosmic field. In some fringe but serious discussions, consciousness isn't produced by matter, it's a fundamental field like gravity or electromagnetism. Under this view, consciousness might predate the universe and interact with it to bring reality into form. Some versions of this idea appear in panpsychism, which is increasingly being revisited by philosophers and neuroscientists as a possible answer to the hard problem of consciousness. Now consider nothingness as unstable. In quantum field theory, even the vacuum isn't empty. Particles and antiparticles constantly appear and annihilate each other. Some theorists propose that the absolute void, the true nothing, cannot actually exist. It is unstable and inevitably produces something. If this is correct, then the universe didn't emerge from a perfect void but from a state that by its nature could not stay empty. Nothing, in a literal sense, might be impossible. There's also the cosmological natural selection hypothesis by physicist Lee Smolin. It suggests that universes reproduce like living organisms through black holes. Each new universe might inherit slightly different physical constants, and those better at producing black holes reproduce more often. Over countless generations, universes evolve. In this view, our universe is tuned not for life, but for black hole production, and life is just a byproduct of a cosmic evolutionary process. Then comes time-symmetric cosmology. This idea says the universe might have two arrows of time, one running forward, ours, and another running backward from the Big Bang. That would mean another mirror universe exists on the other side of the Big Bang where time flows in the opposite direction. Inhabitants of that universe would see us as running backward while they go forward. This is not a myth. Serious cosmologists like Sean Carroll have explored such models. Finally, some thinkers push the boldest claim of all: existence is inevitable. They argue that because nothingness is unstable and mathematics allows infinite structures, some form of reality must exist. Not because of a creator, not because of chance, but because non-existence is not a stable or consistent state. In this sense, there was never a choice for there to be something instead of nothing. Something is the default. Each of these hypotheses is a real attempt to answer the oldest question: why is there anything at all? They take us to the edge where physics, philosophy, and pure reason overlap, and they show that reality might be far stranger than any story humans have ever told. I am Apple from AppleKnows channel, and this is where we draw the line. We have walked through myths, ancient philosophies, cutting-edge physics, and even the wildest frontiers of thought. From cosmic eggs to holographic universes, from white holes to black holes birthing new realities, from information as the core of existence to consciousness itself shaping the cosmos, each hypothesis is a reminder that the story of creation is not closed, not simple, and not easily understood. The truth is, no single idea has yet won. Each of them shines light on part of the mystery, but the full picture still escapes us. And maybe that's the most shocking fact of all, that after centuries of science and millennia of human wonder, we still don't know why there is something rather than nothing. But one thing is certain. The deeper we look, the stranger it gets. And maybe that's what makes this search worth it, because in every hypothesis, every theory, every attempt to explain the beginning, we are really chasing the greatest mystery of all, our own existence. This was Apple from AppleKnows channel. Thank you for staying through this journey. Remember, the universe is not just out there. It is in you, around you, and maybe even made by you. Until next time, keep questioning, because reality is always stranger than we dare to believe.